put on the recording. Missing this in the previous lessons. Today we're going to learn about the borders of Eretz Yisrael. So we'll see Rashi will explain some of the verses and how it works. The word Totza'av and so on we'll see in the border. But yesterday's class we spoke about the southern border of Eretz Yisrael. Basically, more or less, it goes from the tip of the Dead Sea till the river of the stream of Egypt and follows the stream along till it gets to the Mediterranean Sea to the tip of Israel. However, when it gets from the Dead Sea to the stream of Egypt, the verse says it goes around Malak Rabim, Sin, Kadesh Barnea, Chatzer, Oder, and Atzmon. And we're really holding the verse, which we left off yesterday, was from Atzmon, and it basically, when he tells you the southern border, he tells you, I want you to go from the Dead Sea, but go around. Don't go direct, go around these cities that I just mentioned and include them in as part of Eretz Yisrael, as part of the Dead Sea. So the verse we're holding now is verse 5. We'll see inside in a minute. He's first going to tell you that Atzmon goes along the stream of Egypt up till the Mediterranean Sea, and then we'll learn about the western border of Eretz Yisrael, and that's basically the whole Mediterranean Sea until Mount Har, Har HaHar. We'll see when we get there in the verse in a minute. So let's look inside today's Chumash. With Hashem's help, we will be able to understand this inside. I think we're holding 34:4. Let's just go there. Let's see. Yeah, we did this 34:4 yesterday. We're holding 34:5. But Nasav HaGvul, and then the border turns. Me'atzmon, from the city of Atzmon, I just showed you. Nachla Mitzrayim, to the stream of Egypt. Hayu Taitza Oisav Yama, and that tip, the border, the southern border, the end of it will be at the Mediterranean Sea. And that will begin the western border at the tip of the Mediterranean Sea, which I just showed you in the map, will begin the western border. Ugvul Yam, and the border of the sea, Ugvul Yam, the western border. Vayelachem should be the Great Sea. It calls the Mediterranean Sea the Great Sea. Ugvul Zeh Yelachem Gvul Hayam, and that border will be the western border. So basically, it's very simple. You don't have to go into a whole bunch of calculation. It's just all surrounded by other countries and cities on three sides. When you get to the Mediterranean Sea, the whole western border basically is simply the Mediterranean Sea. Now we're moving on to the north. What will be the northern border? Let's go look at a picture, and then we'll come back to the words inside. So it starts from Mount Har. It's basically this big giant mountain over here. And the mountain is going to slope down into the Mediterranean Sea, creating the northern westernmost tip of Israel. And he's going to tell you, I want you to go past Hamat. I guess Hamat, it seems like from this map, was outside the border. You didn't go include Hamat. And then Sadad was included in the wording. You're going to see the wording of the verses that's going to make a loop. In other words, then it's an interesting loop, the way Hashem made the borders of Eretz Yisrael. The northernmost tip went all the way out east and then went down a little bit and then did a sharp turn back into the west and then went straight down to become a very thin part of the land. So as we're going to talk about the northern border, we're going to have to say how it loops all the way out towards the east. Let's see that inside with the next verses. This should be the northern border for you. Min Hayam Agadol, you're starting from the Mediterranean Sea. To Sa'u Lachem, it should turn. The border turns, Har HaHar, and in other words, it leans up to the Har HaHar, Mount Har, and that is the northernmost, westernmost tip of Eretz Yisrael. And the tip, Rashi says, of the mountain slopes down, and I guess the bottom of that mountain, as it slopes down, it goes into the Mediterranean Sea, creating the border of Eretz Yisrael. Mehar HaHar, from Mount Har, to So Lave Chamas, it should then, we're talking about the northern border, so it's going to turn and go to a place called Hamas. Heading towards Hamas, and the end of the border should be towards Sadad. And that's the end of the northern easternmost border of Eretz Yisrael. Now Rashi explains the words toitza'is. Toitza'is is a term of like that slant ends somewhere, or the tip ends here. So tzedada, as you see, I'm pointing to it here, I guess, is the tip of how far east the northern border goes. It ends there, and then it stops and it goes in. So it's the word, the Hebrew word that Rashi is talking about here over there, totza'is, is basically a description for saying, okay, go east and then stop going east and then start turning. You can have that term used a few times. Also in the book of Yeshua we were also discussing exactly how to read the Hebrew map words, to saying like, turn here and slant here and end that slant over here. V'yatza hagvul Zifrona, and then the border extended to Zifron. In other words, the largest section of where the northern border went all the way out east, will all the way have that big swath of land that stretched out to Zifron. It'll go all the way down to Zifron, that large section, which had a large part of that part going all the way to the east. And then it ended that whole slant at a place called Chatzer Einon. So Chatzer Einon is right here. So the slant ended, Zifron is where the border went out the furthest, and then it stopped doing that huge outward chunk of land, including that in part of Israel, moved back to Chatzer Einon, where it started slanting inwards. And that should be the northern border. The largest eastern section in the northern border is ending over there. And then, obviously, we're not done. We're going to now tell you how that eastern border continues and goes straight down along the Jordan River to the Dead Sea and so on. And you should turn towards the border, towards the east, the eastern border, Chatzer Einon, going from that city, Chatzer Einon, which started slanting inwards, Shvama, going down to an area called Shafam, which is another city along the eastern border. So if I go back to there, you see here, Chatzer Einon the border started slanting back inwards, still went to Shafam, and from Shafam it's going to go to Rivla and just go straight down along the Jordan River, a pretty easy border to understand from that sense. The Yard Hagvul, Mishafam Harivla, from Shafam it goes to Rivla, Mikedem La'ayin, to the east of Ayin, the Yard Hagvul Macha es Kesef Yam Kineret Kedman. The border will continue going down, sloping down, the eastern border continuing going south, and it will include in it the Kinneret. So when you make the border, see here's the Kinneret, don't exclude, I guess the Kinneret is the border, or I think the Kinneret's included within the border of Eretz Yisrael, but not outside it. And as Rashi explains, as long as the border is going south on the eastern side, all of that is the Jordan River is the border of Eretz Yisrael. So Rashi says the Kinneret is in the border. It's on the western side of the border, of the eastern border. And there it goes down to the Jordan River, in a straight line all the way down, creating the border of Eretz Yisrael as it comes down and ends in the Dead Sea. Yard Hagvul HaYardeni, the Jordan, the border. That's the Jordan River is the border. And the end of it was in the Dead Sea. And this, my friends, is the border of Eretz Yisrael. We've given you the whole southern, western, northern, and eastern border of Eretz Yisrael. Moshe commanded the Jewish people, and we're saying, this is the land that you should inherit, you should take over. But how do you inherit it? With a lottery. How many tribes are in the borders we just described? Not all 12 tribes, only 9.5 tribes are going to get in the Israel proper of the original border that's meant for the Jewish people. Why only 9.5? What happened to the other 2.5? Because they took the tribe of the Ruvain, the Beis Avosim, for their house, father's home, family. And the second tribe, Gad, and half of Menashe took their inheritance on the eastern side of the Jordan River. 2.5 of the tribes took their inheritance from the eastern side of the Jordan River. On the other side, Kema Mizracha, the way the sun rises, which calls like the facing the earth, because the sun rises, it's called the face, on the eastern side of the Jordan River. And that, my friends, is the end. In Yeshua, we describe in great length in our class. We went through this, we still have to finish. Here is a basically overview of Moshe Rabbeinu telling the Jewish people what are the borders of Eretz Yisrael. But now that we know this, we have to finish actually. We're going to talk about that they appointed each leader of each tribe to be a emissary, a messenger, a representative of their tribe, causing the transaction for that tribe to take place, right? So he wasn't just a representative to make sure that everything is done correctly. He was actually a messenger representing the tribe, which the property went through him. By him accepting it, he accepted it for all the people that were in his tribe. And he lists a name of all the leaders of those tribes who accepted that location for their tribe. Let's see. These are the names of the people that were inherit the land. Who was in charge? First, the head corporation, the head of the committee was Elazar HaKohen, the high priest Elazar, Vayishua ben Nun, and Joshua, the son of Nun. Right? They were actually going to be in Eretz Yisrael when the land was divided and each person got their land. As Rashi explains, in addition to having them, they also had the leaders of each of those tribes. I was, I guess, going into Eretz Yisrael that will be there, that will be the designated representative to accept the land for the entire tribe that was accepting it. But you should have one leader of each tribe, that it's his job to be the one to apportion the land to his tribe. And these are the names, and he gives you a quick list of all the people that were in charge. Lamat Yehuda, for Yehuda's tribe was Kaleb ben Yefuna. Lamat ben Shimon, Shmuel ben Amihud. Lamat ben Yamin for the Benjamin tribe, Elidan ben Kislon. Lamat ben Edad for the Dan tribe, Nasi Buki ben Yagli. For the Bnei Yosef, the Bnei Menashe, for the Menashe part of the Joseph tribe, Nasi, the leader, was Chaniel ben Ephod. For the Mati ben Ephraim, for the Ephraim tribe, Nasi, the leader, was Kumuel ben Shaftan. Lamati ben Zvulun, Nasi, the leader for the Zvulun tribe, was Litzafin ben Parnach. Lamati ben Yisachar, Nasi, and the leader for the Yisachar tribe was Paltiel ben Azon. Lamati ben Yasher, Nasi, and the leader for the tribe of Asher was Achihud ben Shloimi. Lamati ben Naphtali, Nasi, and the leader for the tribe of Naphtali was Padel ben Amud. Ela Shatziva Hashem Lenachel as Bnei Yisrael. This is those who Hashem commanded that they should be the ones to accept the land, to divide it and inherit among a portion among the Jewish people. Moshe spoke to the Jewish people as they were in the plains of the Moabite plains, right by the Jordan River. They were on the eastern side. Hashem said, "Tzavas Bnei Yisrael." And now he's going to say, well, where are the Levites supposed to live? Because you didn't give any land to the Levi. What's about them? What's about their whole tribe? We are the people from Levi supposed to live. You gave Reuben, all 12 tribes, everybody got land. And in the Chumash, right now, he's going to answer this question. Tzavas Bnei Yisrael command the Jewish people. V'nasnu l'Levim, they should also give to the Levites minachlasam, achuzasam, arim l'sheves. They need to have cities to live, and they have to have places to live. And not just we need to give them cities with houses for people to live in. I don't know, whatever you want, apartment buildings, whatever you want, houses, places for people to live. You must also leave open land for other uses that people who live in the cities need. Titan Levim, you should give to the Levites. We're going to see it's going to be 2,000 cubits. So like a kilometer, I think. That's about a kilometer of land. It has to go from the city out. He's going to say on the north, south, east, western side of each of the cities that I'm giving you to the Levites, in order to sustain two things. One is, I want the first 1,000 amos, the half a kilometer of space around the city, circling the city, should be just open space. Nobody's allowed to plant vineyards over there. Nobody's allowed to make houses over there. It's just people want to go for a walk. It's for the beauty of the city. They want their if they want to walk around it. I think if they want their animals to walk around it, this is a place where we're not planting to create farmland. Nobody should use it. The city simply has. Imagine, you go to the zoning. Someone just told me to go into the zoning board today. This was the zoning. Here's the players telling you the zoning of this location. The city, fine, the whole city of land lived around it 1,000 amos, a half a kilometer of open space. And then after that, there's another 1,000 amos, another half a kilometer, which the Levites can also plant and grow whatever they want in that second thing. The city should be a place for them to live. And the open space should be whatever they need. You want to go for the park, you want to go for a walk. I think even if your animals want to eat, whatever, so on, they have open space for whatever they need, the personal necessities. The town also needs to have open place. How much open space, the zoning board here, the Torah is telling you, should they have? the Kira ear from the wall of a city, from where the people live. They used to, I guess, have a big wall around the city of living. The Chutza and out Elef Amasavi should be 1,000 amas, a half a kilometer, about 1,500 feet of just open space for the land for people to use and enjoy that open space. And the total number, including both sections, the open space and the farming space allowed that you have to give the Levites, has to be 2,000 amma, a whole kilometer, Vespas Negev, whether it's to the east or Negev or to the south. Alpine Bama, everyone has to have 2,000 a kilometer of space. Vespas Yom on the Alpine Bama, Vespas Safa in the north. In the west, Alpine Bama, and the city should be in the middle. The way this is the zoning, should have all the people in the houses in the middle and all the open space outside. But how many cities are you giving to them? So where are they going to live? Fine. So first of all, Sheish Ari Mikla. They have to live in the 6 cities of refuge. So in other words, we're also going to talk about 6 very unique cities. They were almost like not jails, but safety zones where someone who killed a person by accident could go there to be saved from the relatives of the person who was murdered by mistake, was killed by accident, cannot be killed by the relatives if he runs to one of those cities. And these cities were centrally located. I guess it makes sense in a way that the Levites will be there. It's funny, they're sticking these two things together, the Levites and the city of refuge together. I think part of the reason is because they want the guy who killed by accident, who was maybe a little bit negligent, to learn from the Levites, who were the scholars and the priests. So put the troublemakers as someone who made a little bit of trouble by mistake, at least, together with the Levites, stick them together, and this is where they're going to live. So the Levites, first of all, have 6, but it's not enough, just 6 cities, the entire Levite population. But that's the first 6. Where people who kill by mistake will go. But then you have to have more plots to give them another 42 cities. So on top of the 6, another 42 which is the total math. If you do 42 plus 8, 42 plus 6 is equals a total of 48 here. Cities, they get the cities, and not just cities, you also have to give them 2,000 amas, about a kilometer space surrounding it. And who should those 48 cities come from? Who is the one who has to donate it? Who has to give up their land? If they're a larger tribe, give more of the 48 cities. And if they're a smaller tribe, you could take less. So in other words, don't stick all the Levite cities, in the smaller tribes. The larger spots of land, more cities. Each one tribe that ever got lot, I guess based on the size of your lot, you had to designate and give the Levites a certain amount of cities. I think part of the logic here too is very interesting, is that instead of putting the Levites in one state, one county together and saying, you Levites all live here, they wanted the Levites spread out all over because the Levites were teachers and inspiration. So you basically had 48 cities of rabbis and leaders and holy people who lived throughout the entire community, in order to be an inspiration to the Jews. I think it's one of the reasons I heard one upon a time. It's part of the instead of putting the Levites in one area, spread them out and have them inspire the people around them, maybe like a Chabad house. You got to have a Chabad house around every area to inspire the local community. And that's the end of the Chumash.